Okay, so I did promise you a video about my implant journey, and now that we're on 6 weeks post implant, I thought I'd make a video and explain to you my journey before it, my journey after it, how it's been, what it's been like, etc., and all of my symptoms, because that's the main thing that people have been asking. So I got my boobs done back in, I was 17 years ago. 17 years ago I got them done, right? I got them done 17 years ago. I got 380cc, so not gigantic. And but I already had a decent sized boob, so I went from a size B up into a size EE, right? Now I absolutely loved my boobs, still do, still love them, and I just had this thing about big boobs, right? But when I got them done, when I think about it, when I got them done, a couple of years in, I started getting like weird symptoms. So a couple of years in, we moved to Australia, and that's when it really started going very weird for me. So I'd only been here a couple of months. The weirdest thing that happened to me was I bent down to pick up a Kirby, which you call a bobby pin, so one of these things, a Kirby, and I felt like I was having a heart attack. So I had these mad pains in my chest. I couldn't breathe very right. I had to go to hospital, and they thought I was having a heart attack, right? So that was my first thing. Wasn't a heart attack, obviously, and it ended up being a thing called costochondritis, and it's inflammation of the sternum and the rib cage, right? So I ended up getting that constantly over the years. It would flare up, it would go away, it would flare up, it would drive me literally insane. So I had costochondritis. Other things were, at one point, I had this mad skin condition that happened, and all down my left arm, only my left arm, it popped up in water blisters. So a lot of water blisters. They never knew where it was from. They couldn't tell me where it was from, why it was causing it, what was happening. And as quick as it came, it went away, right? So these are the random things that were happening. While this was going on, I had anxiety. I started to get feeling really quite shit about, like, just in myself. I just felt like something was off. I was sleeping a lot, everything. And that was when they constantly started telling me, over all these years, oh, I think you got this autoimmune disease. Oh, it might be this autoimmune disease. And it was a constant, you might have this, let's test you for this autoimmune disease, let's test you for this. And it was never any autoimmune diseases. So about 7 years ago or 8 years ago, I ended up developing high blood pressure. And when I mean high blood pressure, I'm talking could be heart attack material, high blood pressure, right? So I got put on medication for that. They were never able to tell me why I had high blood pressure. They would just put me on meds. So they put me on meds for my high blood pressure. But that was at a time that, I was scaling my business and things were really busy. So I just presumed it was that. Then the next thing that happened was I ended up getting tachycardia, which is a fast pulse. And to the point where I would wake up in the morning and my pulse could be sitting at like 150, stuff like that, at rest. Like, it was just crazy, just ridiculous. So I was sitting like about 150. So they didn't understand why I was getting that either. So what they did was put me on more meds. So I was on 2 meds a day for my blood pressure and 1 med a day for my fast pulse. Then after that, I started getting more. I was constantly in pain, remember? Like, I'd constantly be in pain on, like, not so much on my heart area at that point. It was more under my ribs and right along my rib cage. I would get like a flare up, right? So that would be happening. And then it would have been just after COVID, I had my second jab. So I had my second jab. And then 2 weeks after that is when I had massive, pains and my heart, I got pericarditis, which is a heart issue. So I got all of that, and obviously they were thinking it was because the jab, which they still actually do think it was because of that. But because of all the shit that was going on in my boob, when you got that inflared everything, and the jab thought that this was actually COVID, so it was like attacking it, etc., right? So that's why it was attacking my heart and things. So anyway, my heart journey started, and it was awful. It was brutal. A lot of you haven't followed me for a while, I was put on 3-month bed rest. So I was on 3-month bed rest. You heard me right, lying in your bed for 3 months. It was depressing, everything. It was awful. So I was on bed rest for my heart. It's still getting all the inflammation of my ribs. There were some days I could not move out my bed. If I did anything physical, just anything physical, it ruined me. So I thought it was my heart a lot, but a lot of it, now looking back, now I see what my implants were like, it was my boob. So I had all my pains in here, right in the middle, a feeling against the sternum, and my boob would just be burning hot sometimes, or if I couldn't use this arm, I couldn't wash my hair, right? I had to it was horrendous. So I went to the cardiologist last year. I've been under a great cardiologist. But I went and seen him last year, and I'm 46, right? So, well, I'm 46 this week. And I'd had my implants in for 17 years. Now, you might think, oh my God, well, you should have had them changed, right? I have had the implants scanned 5 times, right? So in the space of from the 10-year gap time, I had them scanned 5 times. I had 3 ultrasounds, right? So 3 ultrasounds, which is, you go in and you get your ultrasound and all that done on your boob, on your breast. 3 ultrasounds on my implants, told that they were absolutely perfect, that my boobs are totally fine. And then I had 3 ultrasounds. I had a CT scan with dye, so you go in the tunnel. My boobs are fine again, and then I had a mammogram, but it wasn't even just it was a proper mammogram, and then they done this other scan as well. So I'd had 5 major times in the last 5 years of them being checked, right? So actually from probably about the 7-year mark, when I started getting pains and stuff. So they kept telling me there's no ruptures, your implants are perfect. Every single time, that's what I was told. So I didn't think it was my boobs, and then I was thinking it must be my heart, or it must be something else, or there's something else wrong with me. So anyway, I over the last year and a bit, I did actually start to think maybe this is my boobs, because I'd had so many people get in touch with me, and they were saying to me, Kelly, do you not think this could be your boobs, etc.? There is this thing, breast implant illness. And so then I started looking into it, and I was like, yeah, I've got a lot of that. Like, my anxiety in the last 6-7 years is horrific. Sometimes, it's been so bad, it's like I can't even function, right? So I was like, right, I've got that. I've got a lot of the other one, the pains, the random joint aches. Like, I wake up during the night, my joints are sore, and it's just inflammation through your body. So anyway, I went to see my cardiologist, and he signed me off. He's like, you've got a heart of an 18-year-old. We do not understand how I've got no blockages in my heart. And he says, we don't understand how you're getting the heart sac so inflamed, because your heart's perfect, basically, right? And I just happened to say, look, do you think there'd be any connection with my implants? And he says, yes, there can be. So there's documented cases of women who have had their implants done, and had their implants in for a while, and it turns into pericarditis, right? Which is a heart condition, an actual heart condition, guys, right? So as soon as he says that to me, I was like, fuck this. I am going to the surgeons, and I'm going to find out what's happening. So I went and seen a surgeon in Perth. He's absolutely amazing, Dr. Mark Lee, and I spoke to him, and I mentioned it to him, and says, do you think this could be anything to do, my heart condition and stuff could be anything to do with my implants? He said yes, because a lot of people's ruptures, the majority of them, are underneath. So it doesn't matter how many times you've had them scanned, etc., and all of this, it could normally, most of the time, it doesn't even show, right? So they don't even show on the scan. So your ruptures don't even show. So what is the point in getting scanned constantly? That's what I thought. But anyway, so I went, booked in my operation. I went and got it done. It's actually 6 weeks ago today. I've had my operation done. And when they took my implants out, I'm going to leave a photo at the end of this. This one had completely dissolved underneath, all on this side. So where I was getting all my pain all the time, where I was constantly out of breath, where I was just a mess, and that was such a mess, right? Now, I am not exaggerating this. Oh, another symptom I had. So in for the 2 or 3 years before that, I had a lump in my neck, right? So I had a lump in my neck. It was a massive swollen lymph node, and it had been scanned 3 or 4 times, and they could never tell me why it was so big. They were just like, there must be some type of inflammation in your body. So I got my implants out on Monday the 3rd of February. And instantly, I am not exaggerating this, instantly, my blood pressure went right back to normal, right? My blood pressure went back to normal. My pulse went back to normal. So since 6 weeks, I have never had to take my blood pressure meds or take any tablets for my tachycardia, which is my fast pulse. Remember, I was on them 7 years, right? So never had to take anything like that. And the lump in my neck went down within 2 days. 2 days. Not only that, I just feel different. I feel better. I feel more energy. I feel not as anxious. Yeah, I just feel myself. I feel absolutely great. So for everyone who's asking what my symptoms were, these were my symptoms. You know, it was a big journey to get them out. I'm not going to lie. I'm very naive and I didn't want to look into it. So I didn't bother doing any research. I just presumed it was going to be a piece of cake, when in fact it was actually a little bit harder than I thought, but it's definitely worth it. So you know your body, right? And if you have a doctor or someone telling you they're fine, and you just feel like shit and you just know yourself something's not right, then maybe go and see about getting them out, because honest to God, for me personally, it's the best thing I've ever done. And this is me, just got my first underwear bra on today. It's made me so skinny because I had double E boobs, so I felt like my boobs were way down here and they were just gigantic. So it doesn't matter how skinny I was, I always felt massive. So I got a full removal, a capsulectomy or whatever it's called, but basically they remove all the scar tissue out of the boob, and then he molded. The reason I went to Dr. Mark Lee is he doesn't get rid of any breast tissue, he creates a boob from the breast. So because I had such big boobs, I've still been able to get a D cup, which is perfect. I'm happy with that, and they're up where they should be. So that's my journey. Hopefully it helps someone. And you know, I can't believe the amount of people who got in touch with me asking what my symptoms were, because they're struggling themselves. And roughly price wise, when I went to him, I think it was about 18.5 or 19.5. However, I got 1,800 back off Medicare, so at least I got something back. And for me, it's not really about the money, it's about feeling better with myself. So I hope that helps someone.